Hello everybody and welcome back to F1 22 with me, Dan, and the BMW Slothz Tech team. There's actually been a bit of a major change to the channel since the last episode was released. I was having some issues with my old YouTube channel, so I just decided to can it and start again, a little bit like about this F1 team, in fairness. So thanks for the support so far. At the time of recording, we're already into the double digits on subscribers, and I hope you enjoy the remainder of the series and any future videos which will be uploaded on this channel. And in typical German manufacturing fashion, we've decided to increase our resource points to the maximum available. If you like, basically throwing shit at the wall until something sticks in terms of getting as many points as possible, as many bonuses as possible, discounts on upgrades, and trying to make the car a championship winning car before the end of season 3 so we can kick this new channel off with a bang and go into F1 23 in a few months time with another win under our belt of the World Championship. I don't think we ever got the Constructors' Championship, so we'll be hoping that Carlos Sainz can pull his finger out after some car upgrades have gone on, and maybe he can challenge us for that title as well, if we're lucky. For the time being, though, let's just try and get as many of these discounts as possible, because we've got a lot of catching up to do. And speaking of which, here we are on the R&D screen. You can see we've got a couple of chassis upgrades on the way. And now this one as well, which will actually bring us right up to towards Alpine in the chassis department. Anyway, right, over to the race. Well, then here we go for the second race of the season. I can tell you for one thing, it was a much better qualifying from us this time. This is a circuit that we've historically done very well at, despite the fact that in Season 1 on the old channel, we had the worst car on the grid. We were still able to get up almost into the points. Anyway, for any new videos that will be coming out, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell as well. And if you want to go back and have a look at our previous endeavours in F1 22 and indeed F1 2021, don't forget to head over to the old channel. It is still going to be around for a little while to come. Anyway, onto the starting grid, and as I mentioned, it's very good for us. We're starting P1 alongside current championship leader Lando Norris in the McLaren. Behind us, going down the rest of the field, we have Charles Leclerc alongside Fernando Alonso. Then we have Lewis Hamilton in the other Ferrari alongside Max Verstappen, George Russell and Sergio Perez, and then Esteban Ocon and our teammate Carlos Sainz. Then it's Lance Stroll alongside Pierre Gasly, Yuki Tsunoda alongside Dan Ticktum, Robert Schwartzman alongside Alex Albon, Kevin Magnussen and Zhou Guanyu, Oscar Piastri alongside our old teammate Toto Pourchaire, and finally it's Nicholas Latifi alongside Mick Schumacher on the back row of the grid. And we'll go down trackside with the hope that we'll actually get to see some more of the other cars as we look around what's going on the grid. Apparently we're going to have a look at this man who's talking to a microphone without opening his mouth, and there is the Ford AlphaTauri of Pierre Gasly, I believe, and another great look at our BMW Motorsport car. And of course, the star of the show, the Jaffa Cake Williams. We'll see more of that later on. Let's get on with the race. Well, we'll be looking to get off to a better start than we did in Bahrain in terms of points tally, because we've got a bit of catching up to do on McLaren, and hopefully further back Carlos Sainz can do a bit more to help us out as well. There he is on screen now, but as we come down towards turn 1, it's a great start for Lando Norris and Fernando Alonso in the quadrant McLarens. They're already ahead of us into the braking zone as we see the two Ferraris of Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc behind us, dueling away with Max Verstappen in hot pursuit. I think there's actually a tyre difference between the two of them, and that's how they're able to challenge each other to this extent. Hamilton should be running the soft tyre and Charles Leclerc running the medium. Should be interested to see later on this season whether Lewis Hamilton can challenge old rival from 2021 Max Verstappen, given that now he's in a car which we know is capable of winning the championship, as we saw on the old channel in Season 2 with Charles Leclerc picking up a title of his own. But one thing that we're not going to be beating as we clatter into the barriers there is the two McLarens up ahead who have already pulled out quite an extensive gap here. And we rejoin at the end of lap 3. Are we going to see some action here as Fernando Alonso gets DRS on his teammate? And we make the charge down towards turn 1. We've still got the fastest lap, actually. This is something that came up a few times last season. But no, we do not. We close up. We get right up to the back of Fernando Alonso, but no action so far on track. I have a feeling the pit window's just open. Lewis Hamilton's dropped back a few although actually looking down the field on the mini-map, I don't think he has pitted, so he's actually managed to lose a few places. I think that elusive win might escape him again. In fact, actually, he was a bit cursed on this channel, on the old channel in the past, repeatedly failing to win races. Funnily enough, when he drove for Ferrari as well. And for now, we'll come into the pits, and we follow in championship leader Lando Norris in the quadrant McLaren. Fernando Alonso stays out for a bit longer on his tyres, and we've got an issue with the front left. The pit crew, since upgrading their department, are getting worse, and we release extremely unsafely into the side of Max Verstappen. But what would you expect from a team with BMW in the title? Exactly no less than something like that, and I doubt there were any indicators involved either. But up ahead, we've got the Porsche of Max Verstappen, the Red Bull Porsche. We've got the Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton in hot pursuit, and cold tyres on our car. You see, I actually had a bit of oversteer there, and nearly went straight into the fence. And there we go, look, they're just about warming up now, but that Sector 1 is pretty brutal on cold tyres. You really don't want to be going through there with anything that isn't up to temperature. You're going to lose an absolute ton of time, as you can see. And actually, running wide and going over the Rolex advertisement, also another way to lose a lot of time. And potentially, yes, lose DRS to the car in front of you, giving your rival behind an opportunity. Thankfully, though, bit of ERS deployment early on there has managed to hold Hamilton off for now, but he is going to get another opportunity as we come down towards the final corner. Thankfully, though, we've managed to catch back up and got DRS on Max Verstappen as Pierre Gasly in the Ford Alpha Tauri pulls off to the side of the road and retires from the Grand Prix. That's our second retirement this season, with Esteban Ocon, who's currently running at the back due to the pit stops, blowing up his engine in the closing laps of Bahrain. So definitely a reliability issues going on up and down the field as we go on board with Nicholas Latifi, who's in a train of cars behind Mick Schumacher and Théo Pourchaire, as we go around the inside of Max Verstappen, just behind them. The point illustrated with Latifi being that he's part of a train of back markers currently holding up the two McLarens, and you can see that we clearly know that as we take a really tight line through the DRS zone. And we've managed to close up quite significantly there as the back markers peel in. There's our old teammate Théo Pourchaire in the Audi. We get the fastest lap, get past Piastri. We're now net P3 as we wait for the leaders who started on the mediums to come in. And we're just outside of DRS range on the two McLarens. He says as we rejoin the action later on lap 8. Running a bit wide there, coming onto the DRS straight, but it's not a big issue. Closing down now on Fernando Alonso. We're not going to make it in time for the corner. Into the braking zone we go. Alonso up the inside of Lando Norris, challenging for the net lead here. He gets the position, but he's compromised them both, and we've seen how this can go badly before. Lando Norris now, we're closing in rapidly on him. We go to the outside and get past the two of them on the straight. Fernando Alonso slots in behind us. Just did not have the straight line speed to challenge as we went down the straight, and we take what will become P1. This is the perspective of Fernando Alonso. Actually hits his teammate, may have done some damage to his own front wing there. not good. And any second now, there's Lando Norris briefly coming back in. And out of his mirrors, a flash of white. And our BMW goes sliding past with relative ease. The straight line speed of the car still incredibly overpowered. Even at this stage in the season, we've had no regulation changes at all on this game, which is a shame. But now we've got to contend with another 4 laps or 3.5 now of Fernando Alonso and Lando Norris behind us with DRS. And Alonso's already getting racy, goes to the outside. We've got no way to defend from this, but he has made the mistake, much like at the start of the 2022 season, when Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc had their epic duel trying to get the DRS, and he has gifted it to us. And once again, McLaren with no DRS, not able to compete with us. As in the background, actually, as I mentioned earlier, Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen go wheel to wheel. They're still chopping and changing positions as they get past Charles Leclerc, who just came into the pits. But here we go, lap 12 now. Just a few more corners to go onto the penultimate lap. And Fernando Alonso is sniffing around our diffuser like the most perverted F1 driver on the grid would do. Lining himself up nicely here. He's going to get another great opportunity. Perhaps Lando Norris is going to try something as well, if he can close up. I don't think Norris is going to compromise his teammate and crash into him, but it is a possibility. But unfortunately, Fernando Alonso once again gifting us the DRS right as we come into the braking zone for the final corner. And for some reason, I forgot to open it, but right as I do, we go flying past with relative ease yet again, coming into turn 1. And now it's a straight drag race for the finish line, I suppose. Fernando Alonso, all he has to do is close up, and I think he can win this race if he gets past us into the final corner. That's his only opportunity, though, before we will pick up our first win of the season. And indeed, if we do win this race, it will be the first win of the season, and of course our 3rd win in the past 4 races, which is absolutely fantastic because we've not had many wins on this channel. Not until at least the end of season 2. And as we come through, first DRS, so we have a big moment there in the rear going out wide, nearly hitting the barriers. Alonso's going to get DRS and he will not be waiting around. He's going to close up as much as possible. He's not as close as on other laps though, which may be a problem for him, as we deploy pretty much everything that's left in the battery now. Hug the wall as close as possible. Lando Norris also running offline slightly. Perhaps he's having a little look as well. But he's not been able to get us into the final corner. He's going to have one more chance up the straight if he deploys everything he's got. But I don't think he's going to make it. And we're going to cross the line. Oh, we've had a massive accident! In a celebration, we've crashed into the pit wall and torn a tyre off of the car, and now we get to stare at the crowd of what appears to be just the same person, and we get crashed into as well, whilst looking at the same person in the crowd, copied and pasted. I hope the other driver was okay, but there we go. It's a first win for BMW in F1 since their comeback, and we get to celebrate it with them. Of course, a helmet still attached to our head, which doesn't match the rest of the car. But what do you expect from this game? Fernando Alonso still wears his Alpine helmet as we enter the podium celebrations and receive our first trophy of the season. So here we are with the race results. Then we pick up maximum points for the fastest lap and the race win, and we were followed by Fernando Alonso and Lando Norris. Then we had Lewis Hamilton beating up Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, George Russell, Sergio Perez, Esteban Ocon and Lance Stroll with the final point. This all means in the Drivers' Championship, Lando Norris still retains his position at the top of the table, but we close up to second ahead of Fernando Alonso. Then we have Lewis Hamilton, Lance Stroll, Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, George Russell, Sergio Perez and Esteban Ocon behind. Yuki Tsunoda is currently the final point scorer. He's followed by Dan Ticktum, our teammate Carlos Sainz, Pierre Gasly, Alex Albon, Kevin Magnussen, Oscar Piastri, Robert Schwartzman, Teo Pourchaire, Mick Schumacher, Joe Guan Yu, and Nicholas Latifi. And over in the Constructors' Championship, McLaren and Ferrari maintain their position in P1 and 2, but now we jump up to third ahead of Red Bull, Alpine, Mercedes, Ford AlphaTauri, Haas, Williams, Audi, and Aston Martin. That's all for now. We'll catch you in the next one.